in the fourth quarter. Please take a listen. I want your reaction.
To me, you don't ever want to disrespect those players and their effort and disrespect the game. The sacrifices that they made to come into work every day and test before coming in, to sit in meetings spaced out, to wear masks, to have shields over those masks, to go through extensive protocols, to travel in unconventional ways, to get text messages at 6:30 in the morning telling them practice is going to be canceled. We have to do a virtual day. Okay, to tell them, please don't have your family over for Thanksgiving. Please avoid Christmas gatherings. We know it's your wife's birthday. Let's make sure we put that one off to the off season. There's a number of sacrifices been made by all the players and coaches in this league. There's a number of sacrifices that come along as well with the family members of the people connected to them. To disrespect the effort that everyone put forward to make this season a success for the National Football League, to disrespect the game by going out there and not competing for 60 minutes and doing everything you can to help those players win, we will never do that as long as I'm the head coach of the New York Giants.
Jeff, top of the show, I applauded Joe Judge for this. I liked what he had to say. Stephen A. wasn't with it. Tell me this. How did Judge's comments make the Eagles look now?
It doesn't change. Listen, the Eagles aren't worried about the Giants. I mean, you think Doug Peterson cares what Joe Judge thinks about him and the way he coaches his football team? Absolutely not. Look, Joe Judge is upset that the Eagles didn't plan on winning the game, but by no means, the Eagles didn't change what they said. Doug Peterson talked about it the whole week leading up, right? Sudfeld was going to get reps, Fletcher Cox, Miles Sanders, like these guys. Wentz wasn't even dressed. Like to think that they were going in this game full on trying to win this game. This is a 4-win team. I guarantee you, Roseman and Lurie, all these guys had a meeting before and said, hey, the difference between 9 and 6, that's better for our football team. We're going to go out and evaluate talent. This is what we're going to do. The issue is, it affected the Giants because the Giants finally beat the Cowboys and they go win 6 games. But as far as what the Eagles are trying to do, listen, the only people who can be upset with what Doug Peterson did is the players in the Eagles locker room, right? Because it does suck not to be able to play to win. And I have been on a team. Look, I was on an undefeated team. We were up against the Jets. I think it was 14-10 or something. And they pulled Manning and half the other squad. And everybody goes out. We end up losing to the Jets. By the way, the same Jets we had to beat in the AFC Championship game. This happens every year. The Steelers didn't play. The Chiefs didn't play on Sunday. There are a ton of teams. Last year, the Texans let the Titans in, and the Titans run rampant in the playoffs. It happens all the time. Teams are in charge of themselves. He's not discrediting the game. He's not taking a shot at the NFL, all that nonsense. The Eagles don't carry legitimacy to the NFL. The way players line up and play does. Sudfeld didn't have a good day. Honestly, Jalen Hurts didn't have a good day. What's he, 7 of 20 or something like that? So yes, it's not like This whole thing was just walking out that way. Listen, to lay all this on the feet of Peterson because it was the last game of the regular season, he robbed us of something. No, he didn't, man. His job is to make the Eagles the best team. This year was not going to happen. They had no chance at the playoffs. They moved on. They want a better draft position. That's the way the game is played. Hey, if you got a problem with it, play better. Any team that has an issue with not making the playoffs, by the way, the Steelers let the Browns in. I mean, so how are we going to ever discuss who is playing for a win and who is not? It's not their responsibility to carry another team's water, man. At the end of the day, go handle your job.
I'm a Giants fan, and sure, I was mad because of that, but that's not why I'm saying what I'm saying right now. It's just not just from the point of view of a Giants fan. I get it. If the Jets are, let's say, winless on the last game of the season, if they won a game, I would understand why Jets fans would be like, really, Trevor Lawrence is there and you just blew it because you had to win on the last game of the season. I get that. If they're not sticking it to a divisional rival or anything like that, the Eagles were playing Washington. There was a reason that game was flexed to prime time because it had playoff implications for the NFC East, which even though it was putrid this year, the NFC East still has the most fans, right? It's the most densely populated region. They have long-standing, great rivalries. They're playing an NFC East rival with a chance to keep them out of the playoffs. Really, even if I wasn't a Giants fan, if I was a Rams fan or a Chargers fan, I'd be like, this is not right. It's not. You're moving from 9 to 6 in the draft. That's a good enough reason to tank. Really? That's a good enough reason? We want to evaluate guys. You want to evaluate guys, you need to know what you have in Sudfeld, stop it. What you need to know is how your second-round draft pick quarterback might perform in a prime-time game against a divisional rival with playoff implications, even if it's not for your team, late in the game in the fourth quarter in a one-score game. That's what you want to see from Jalen Hurts. You don't care about Sudfeld. Come on, get out of here with that, Jeff. Like, it's not that you're never allowed under certain circumstances to say, to hell with the rest of the league. We have to worry about our own stuff, even if it seems anti-competitive to others. These weren't those circumstances. This was awful.
Well, first of all, let me say a couple of things. Max, I want to say for the record, I think you embarrassed yourself on national TV several minutes ago when you said, based off of this past game, Doug Peterson should be fired. That's what you said.
Oh.
You said yes, that's what
Absolutely
you said.
not.
I said that before this last game.
No. What I'm saying is I'm not saying you didn't say it before, but you emphasized that you said that Doug Peterson is a good coach. You even used the word excellent. But then you said after what we saw this Sunday, he definitely should go. And I'm saying that's ridiculous. If he's excellent, then he's excellent, and you keep him. That's number one. Number two, let's make sure for the purposes of this audience that we're clear about what argument we're making here. Let me be clear about mine. Jeff Saturday, I completely agree with you. I think it's an overreaction by a lot of people. I agree with Michael Irvin with what he said about the Giants. You had 16 damn games to show up, improve yourself, and handle your own business. I reemphasize the fact that the Giants, after Week 12, were 5-7 in first place, in control of their own destiny, and proceeded not just to lose 3 straight coming into Sunday night's game, but to score a grand total of 26 points in those 3 games. You're the second worst offense in points. You're the second worst offense in yards. Don't get me started with your running game now that Saquon Barkley was out, or your overall offense. You lost. You had the opportunity to do so. We know we can sit up there and sneeze at what Doug Peterson did. I don't particularly like what he did, Jeff. I respect and appreciate your position, and I'll roll with you on that. I just don't like it. But what the issue in question right now is this. What the hell is Joe? And I love Joe Judge and the job that he's done with the Giants this year. And I think he's got a bright future.
For sure.
He's impressed me this year. But let me be very clear. What the hell are you doing commenting about this, about the Eagles? You didn't play them, and you had an opportunity to handle your business, and you didn't do that. And so the reality of the situation is that he needs to shut the hell up. And all of those members of the New York Giants need to shut the hell up, because you had an opportunity long before the Eagles ever showed up on the field against the Washington football team Sunday night to handle your business, and you wet the bed for 3 straight weeks. You didn't get it done. And so when that's the reality of the situation, I'm not saying that what Joe Judge said is wrong. I'm saying he's the person that has no business saying it, nor should anyone for the New York Giants organization. Leave that for me or commentators, pundits, football aficionados like Jeff Saturday and others to say that. He doesn't need to be saying it, because as the coach of the New York Giants, with all due respect, you didn't handle your business the last 4 weeks. And that's why it came down to this.
Yeah. And listen, let's not miss the point. Like Stephen A., I fully agree. I don't like it. Listen, when I got pulled for games and we weren't able to complete games and do those things, it frustrates the players. Like Jason Kelce being upset, all those guys being upset, Jalen Hurts being upset. I can completely understand everybody in the Eagles locker room being frustrated. But at the end of the day, they don't get paid to make those decisions. And whether it was Laurie, whether it was Roseman, whether it was Doug Peterson himself, whoever made the final decision, this is the direction we were headed, it was a plan from the week. I mean, you could see when they didn't kick the field goal, they were telling you everything you needed to know, right? Like, that's a simple call, right? Tie the game, let's move on. But to act like we're disrespecting the game because of the timing that it had, to me, is just silly. Like, they had already addressed what they were going to do. So there was no surprise element to this. Wentz didn't dress, Cox didn't. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you have to know what's happening and be aware of it. And to your point, I think Joe Judge is doing this to speak to his own locker, right? I mean, here's a guy from New England, and we talked about this earlier on Get Up, right? they do play their guys. I mean, Belichick played Brady in games that were unnecessary. So they're not afraid to do it. So maybe his mentality is different. But as far as going around and discrediting the game or saying that we were robbed of something, that to me just takes it just goes too far, right? Because everybody has done the same thing that the Giants organization has. I can't imagine being in the locker room this past year, but every team, including the Eagles, went through the exact same procedures. Look, it ain't fun,
I totally
but it's
disagree,
part of the business.
Jeff, I totally disagree. And Stephen A., you're focusing on the Giants. I understand you seem to be saying, look, whatever Judge's motivation, even if it's pure and has nothing to do with the Giants, because he'll look conflicted if he talks about it. He'll look like he has, an incentive to say what he says, so he should just shut up. But they asked him point blank, and he's just as outraged as almost all football fans today. It's really not an issue of all the Giants, like me just being a Giants fan or other people. Football fans are upset. And Jeff, I disagree about the play calling even. I understand going for it there. I don't mind not playing scared. I don't mind not fearing a negative result in case it doesn't happen. I like being aggressive, and there was plenty of time in the game, even if you don't tie it with a field goal there. I know that goes against conventional wisdom, but I didn't mind that. I wasn't outraged by that. I was like, okay, bet, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And it didn't work out. You can't cry about that. But when you pull Jalen Hurts, and as poorly as he was playing as the game went on, Jalen Hurts is the reason they were in that game. I mean, he was willing them in that game earlier on. When it was 10-0 and it looked like they were going to roll over, Jalen Hurts wasn't having that. No, they had a chance to win and keep a divisional rival out of the playoffs. That's the reason it was on primetime. The football world was watching. And the Eagles, in order to draft 6th instead of 9th, didn't try to win. They at a certain point, they just didn't try to win. It's not all right.
So Max, you think it discredits the game that Roseman, Laurie, Peterson believe those 3 spots matter more? You think it discredits the entire game because they think that's the most important? Because, by the way, they don't control 31 other teams. They just control theirs, right? So that discredits the game because they felt like for their organization, it's the best decision. So every decision made for playoff teams, non-playoff teams, because this happens every season at the end when teams decide to play guys, not play guys, teams are inadvertently affected. That's just the bottom line of the business. So you're telling me that's what discredits because they decided, hey, we're going to give Sudfeld a run, let him go play and see what happens. And, he didn't get it done. Would Jalen have got done? Who knows? But at the end of the day, that shows you, to me, it's an organizational decision. They made it. You can love it or hate it. I wouldn't have wanted to do it. I can assure you that. But them doing it doesn't discredit the game to me.
Jeff, if you brought up Jason Kelce earlier as a fellow offensive lineman. Jason Kelce had media availability comments on the 19th. You can Google it. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. I'm sure you've seen it.
I've seen it, yeah.
That explains very well to me what was at stake for the players and everything. Stephen A., that's why, in spite of the fact that when Peterson has a quarterback, he'll just do what he asks him to do, no matter if it's a 40-year-old on one leg in the playoffs, or it's Nick Foles, or it's Jalen Hurts, you could see he's a good coach. Carson Wentz kept him from looking like a good coach recently. I'm talking about a coach for this team. They've spent that Super Bowl credibility at this point. Unless
That's
it comes
ridiculous.
out that Peterson had his hands tied, I don't see how a locker room responds to him next year.
A locker room could easily respond to him by him either saying I had orders from above or B, I made a mistake. I apologize. Here's my resume. I'm a Super Bowl champion. This won't happen again moving into the future. They're grown men. They can get over it. Who gives a damn? Bottom line is the Giants shouldn't have anything to say about it.
So disrespectful, Stephen A. So disappointed in you right now.
It hurts.
Jeff Saturday, I don't even know what to say to you either. But Happy New Year to you and your family. I'll talk to you guys later. I got to go. Goodbye.